Hi guys, it's David, and today here I have Johnny Lee. He's the founder of Hack the U. It's a company here up at the U that supports, I believe, invention marathons, and he's also has two patents in medical devices as well. And can you tell us a little more about that, Johnny?
So, Hack the U is a 24-hour invention marathon. And essentially, what that entails is people will get together at the Lassonde studios, and essentially, students from across the nation will innovate together in conjunction with industry professionals.
Oh, so how do you organize all those students, especially all across the place? How do you get them everywhere?
So, we're a part of a national organization called Major League Hacking. And our nonprofit organization reaches out to students through our newsletter as well as through advertising. And with that, people from Utah State, BYU, University of Utah can all get together in one place.
All right. So how do you find the resources to do that? Using social media? Where's the funding coming from?
So all the funding, since we're a nonprofit, comes from sponsorship. And sponsorship comes from like high caliber companies such as Google, Microsoft, Qualtrics, and these large scale tech companies will come out to sponsor these hackathons because one, they're looking for students with entrepreneurship ability, as well as people who are very interested in actually putting out the first step in creating their own ideas.
So since those are really big companies and it's really hard to get them, what tips would you give students on reaching out to these big companies? How do you able to obtain Google and companies like that?
That's a great question. So, in terms of actually reaching out to sponsors, you have to be able to send out emails in a very professional way, as well as connect through your network in LinkedIn, as well as through the university. And one of the largest aspects of that is having a very professional email address and conducting yourself in a very professional way.
All right. So this is a pretty simple question as well. So for saying that email address, how would you put one as? Let's use an example as John Smith. How would you make an example for John Smith to be professional and just be professional?
So, typically, you will want to not include slang or just different characters inside your email address, and you want your email address to entail exactly where you're coming from. So if it's your personal email address, have it be an example of who you are. But if it's your organization email address, such as the one for Hack the U, our email address is info@hacktheu.com, which is exactly what it is and portrays ourselves as very professional.
All right. Sounds good. So when talking about your company and referring to the five values, what would you say about them? What would you say your main strength is? Let's start with that.
So one of the biggest strengths, and I'll refer to my patents in this regard, is that my patents have to do with the medical field. And because of the medical field's long-lasting application, because everyone is going to need to visit the doctor at some point, and in addition to that, it has international application, you have a strong presence just in the global market. However, the biggest weakness in that regard is that being a part of the medical field, there's numerous regulations that you must go through in order to get your idea off the ground. And that requires a lot of investment, especially from your investor standpoint.
So I know businesses and entrepreneurship and things like that have a lot of failure. What one failure that you've had and how has it made you grow?
One of the biggest failure I've had is impatience. Everything takes a process to go through. You need to make sure that you follow the proper intellectual property regulations as well as follow the legal rules set out by a number of organizations. And by trying to speed up the process and trying to bypass those things was probably my greatest failure because it created many more obstacles than I would have liked.
Okay, I see. And have you bounced back from those obstacles? What have you done?
I've learned to scale back in which I approached other individuals in the meantime and tackled other tasks and made sure that as I approached each individual and tried to continue along the process that I didn't rush or didn't try to force any negotiations.
Yeah. I remember when we were talking earlier before, even when I started this interview, you were just telling me you were talking to some investors. What are some tips on getting some investors? Just because I'm pretty sure a lot of us don't really know where to get started.
So, especially at the University of Utah, there's a number of resources, such as Lassonde Studios Get Seated program, which is starting up this year as well. And you also have TVC, which is the Technology and Venture Capitalist Group, who essentially aids students and faculty members throughout campus in being able to create their idea.
Okay. And so, with that being said, what governs your choices? How do you choose investors? How do you choose teammates? What do you do?
Usually, you want to determine teammates on commitment. So, you never want to force anybody to be a part of a team for their talents. If the interest is there, the passion will follow. And passion is the greatest key in order to create a successful medical device or product or whatever you decide to actually create. And in terms of finding investors, well, just selecting the investors will be very difficult because different investors will ask for equity, and that really just comes down to your need at the time. One portion of investing that I've run into is that some people will ask for 40% equity, which is a large amount of money. But if they're funding the majority of your patents and the lawyers, it really comes down to, will your idea be able to succeed without them?
So, at the end of this day, you say it would be beneficial to do that if you really needed the money at the starting points, right?
I would say that if you personally deem that in order to take that first step, you need to take that investment, then go for it. But if you can get by without it, and through sheer hard work or through other opportunities, then that would be the better alternative.
All right. So, with that being said, just in general, how did you try to get started? How did all this start? Why did you decide to be an entrepreneur?
As I was going about through my everyday life, I just kind of realized my love for technology and innovation. And part of the reason why I started HackVU was because I continually ran into students with all these amazing ideas and just never able to take this first step in creating them. And so with HackVU, I really want to be able to provide in the environment for students in a very beginner-friendly way. And yeah, so HackVU is hoping to achieve that this year.
All right. So, do you have any events coming up you want to just tell anyone about, just so people can come check it out, so they have a love and innovation for technology like you?
So Hack the U, which can be found at hacktheu.com. Applications have already opened up, and it's going to be held at the Lassonde Studios November 11th to the 12th. And that's our biggest event of the year, and I highly encourage everyone to be able to attend.
All right, sounds good. And before we do go, do you have any future goals that you would like to tell us about at all?
As of this moment, I do plan on creating many more patents and definitely making my stamp on the industry. But due to non-disclosure agreements, I can't speak too much in detail at this time.
All right. Well, tell us this: would you still be probably in the medical field, or are you looking to branch out at all?
I have a few ideas within the medical field, but being a computer science major in my final year, I definitely have a lot of ideas concerning augmented and virtual reality, which I see as a multi-billion-dollar market at the moment.
All right, sounds good. I really appreciate the time, Johnny.
All right, thank you very much.